So, this is an interesting time we're alive in. Several weeks ago, not even, it's months ago now, geez, because school was still in. One of my daughters had a book home from school that was talking about Black Lives Matter and all the injustices that white people do onto black people. And since then, with TikTok and social media and kids being in positions where they need to communicate via online measures and all this because we can't meet in person, Black Lives Matter is being inserted into my lives. So now, over the last day, I've had to sit down and tell my girls about Black Lives Matter. And I've had to explain to them why one of the stories today is how an 8-year-old girl was shot and killed in Atlanta, Georgia today because Black lives really matter. Now, none of the articles I'm reading say black man murders black child because Black Lives Matter. It's a gunman, unknown gunman, a victim still, blah, blah, blah. Now, if this was a white guy and a Trump supporter shooting that black person, even if it was, I can't even say justified, but to the point where it was not immediately evident that it was racism. So maybe there's an investigation and maybe it was self-defense, who knows. If that was the case, he's automatically guilty racist. It could only be because racism. And only white plus black victim equals racism. Hi. So, I had to explain to my daughters about how Black Lives Matter to groups that are out causing black men to get arrested for vehicular manslaughter, and how in a news article, find one please if you have a chance, try to find an article that says the shooters were black, because if you read it, the mayor says something similar to or akin to or verbatim, we can't have our own people doing this to each other. We can't be victimizing ourselves. Now, the victim was black, and if we can't be victimizing ourselves, I'm going to assume that there was a black shooter or shooters. So do Black Lives matter or not? This is my question to you. Because if Black Lives really matter, we should be doing things that are not costing Black lives. I don't know if Black Lives Matter is a thing as if we're supposed to be cashing in on them, using them as currency. I don't think that. But it seems that Black Lives Matter organizations and white rich Marxists running their organizations seem to believe just that. If you have kids, be mindful of this, because we assume our kids know better and our kids know what they're told. And if you're not telling your kids something, TikTok is, books are, your schools are, their friends are, social media is, ads are. I was watching my daughters. They were watching FGTV on YouTube, and he will casually and flippantly say Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. And it's funny because I realize why he's doing it, because if he doesn't, he's a white racist. If he says he doesn't agree with them, he's a white racist. But even just saying it like that casually off is a good way to make sure that you're using your social justice credibility and currency to stay valid and relevant in this environment and in that environment where you're doing online gaming and everyone's watching you. It's hilarious. He has to flippantly and casually say, oh yeah, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. Now back to the game. Just no substance to it, anything like that. This is the daughter I have to talk to about why Black Lives Matter. Because in a book she's reading, it's talking about how blacks are oppressed and they're murdered at these astronomical rates and historical things. And I ask her, what's Black Lives Matter to you? To my kids, when you explain it to them, what they think and what they hear is Black Lives Matter are people. So if you don't like Black Lives Matter, you don't like black lives, you don't like black people. And I have to sit there and explain to them. Similarly, I tell them I vote for Trump. If you have people who don't like Trump supporters, I guess, it doesn't mean you hate them, it doesn't mean you want them to die. But these are conversations that we have to have. I think it's sad, like I say. This is the world we live in. I have to talk to my 9-year-old daughter about Black Lives Matter, because if I don't, the entire world is going to tell her Black Lives Matter, and if you disagree, you're a racist white supremacist. That's the world we live in. Take it easy, gang.